This is my watch list for Friday, June 26th. All right, so what happened yesterday? Crazy sell off the open, and then we got a little bit of a pop and faded off that 736, 737 area where I took short on SPY. This is a really nice trade. We cut 50%, and you actually could have re-entered here as well after it failed at this 11 o'clock candle. Brad and I were talking about this, but we said, the stop would have been too wide to take this again. But this trade did wind up working for a second time as well, off of that same supply, right? So after that supply, look, it was like a false breakout, right? But then this candle came in. Yeah, you could have taken this short one more time, okay? But this is still a bear chart. Everything is a bear chart, okay? These are all pop and fade. Every day has been a pop and fade since Tuesday when we gapped down, right? Pop and fade Tuesday, pop and fade Wednesday, pop and fade Thursday, and nothing has really changed. We're gapping down again on SPY, and we're actually below the previous day low now. We're below Thursday's low. So 730 is going to be my bias for today. Are we below 730? This can sell all the way down back into these lows, honestly, 722, okay? If we reclaim 730 and reclaim 732, which was that bias level from back here, then it can turn into a squeeze, right? Maybe we get back to 736 and then maybe we get back to 740, all right? But this is a bearish chart until it's not, right? This is bearish until it's not, and I think we can still look for those pop and fades, or we can still look for these breakdowns, and let's see what happens, okay? I actually like the Q chart a bit better today because it hasn't broken below yesterday's lows yet, okay? This is also the low from Wednesday, by the way. So we have Wednesday low at 705, we have yesterday's low at 705, and we haven't broken that. So Qs are a little bit cleaner, in my opinion, today with this 705 level. I really like this. If we get below 705, we can look for a move into 700, right? And then if we lose 700, this has room all the way back down to these lows at 688, okay? So this is something that I will actually be watching for today. Did the Qs lose 705? I'm looking for at least a 5-point move into 700, okay? 712 was also my previous bias level, okay? So if we get back above 712, then we can look for upside for a squeeze into 720. And then up above 720, this can go back to these highs at 728, all right? But this is what I'll be watching. 712 bias, 705 below, we can look for shorts on the Qs, okay? Apple, what a nasty sell. Brett and I were talking about this 294 level for 2 weeks, and then, of course, it happened overnight, right? 294 broke down overnight because of Apple had to raise their prices due to the chip shortage, right? So then it gapped down, right, and immediately started selling off the open yesterday. It broke my 288 level. I mean, honestly, you would have had to been super aggressive to catch this move on Apple. You would have just had to short off the open, right, to catch that move because it just sold so fast. Now, what can we watch for? If we get back into 288, then I'll be looking for shorts. I don't know if that's going to happen, right? That's a big move. But if we get back into 288, you can look for shorts on Apple. The other scenario, obviously this is a very weak chart, so this is also a possibility, right? We can look for shorts under yesterday's low, under 274. And what do we have room into? It looks like it does still have some downside room. If we break 274, I don't really see anything until 270, 268, okay? So yeah, that's a possibility as well if we break below that previous session low. Otherwise, we can look for pop and fade off of that 288. I just don't see that happening after yesterday's aggressive weakness, all right? AMD, I actually like this below 500. It's been holding really well. And, we talked about this on pre-market webinar Wednesday. We said, it's bullish and as long as it holds 500. Well, if it doesn't hold 500, it turns bearish. And it can make a 30-point move all the way down to 470, all right? Which was these highs over here. So 500, if we get below on AMD, I like that short. Amazon, not watching anything. Amazon has been not a great stock to trade unless you just start taking pop and fades, I guess. But I'm not watching anything here. let's see, Google, Meta below 540 has room into 520, where I would actually want to look for longs. So 540 is the previous session low, right? That's where we bounced yesterday. If we get below 540, this has room to 520. 520, I would look for bounce. That's a big level, okay? Netflix, so we are almost at my big demand on Netflix. This is the daily, huge previous all-time high, 2021. It's the gap fill, right? We're almost filling the gap. The gap fill's at like 70.50. I like this for a bounce, guys. If we get to 70 today, I'll actually look for an intraday bounce. You know, I'm already in a swing, but I will also look for an intraday bounce off of that 70 level if we get that today. PLTR, so 106. I mentioned this 125, right? I said this is huge demand. If we get below 125, it's going to sell aggressively, and it has. It sold $20 now below that 125 level. 106 is kind of my little area I have back from May 2025. If we lose 106, it's just going to go to 100, okay? Now, it's been selling kind of aggressively, so that you may see a little dip and rip. Let's say we get below 106 and reclaim, then we could see some upside. Watch that level. If you guys are Palantir traders, watch 106. If we hold it, this can turn into a long. If we lose it, it's going to go to 100, just pretty immediately, pretty fast, okay? Nvidia, this was also a nasty trade yesterday. I loaded this right off the open. I was going to enter this candle, right? But the problem was everything was selling so aggressively that the risk was too wide to signal for the chat, right? So like $1.50 risk would have been probably like a 20 or 25% loss. And you know, the chat loves to take 5% losses. So I wasn't able to signal this, but the short was insane. The short on Nvidia was insane. We still caught SPY, so whatever. But yeah, this move below 199 was insane. And we can still look for pop and fades off of 199. We can look for shorts off of 199, or we can look for breakdown below 192. All right. So 192, I don't have anything to 188. This was this previous area over here. All right, so 192, previous day low. We can look for shorts under that. Okay. Tesla, not watching anything. So that's pretty much my watch for today. I really like the Qs, that QQQ level. We can watch for continuation weakness on Apple. We can watch for that AMD below 500 breakdown, and we can watch potentially the Netflix bounce or the breakdown on Nvidia below 182. All right, so let's have a good Friday. It's been a great week so far, and I'll see you guys on live.